السلام عليكم ورحمة الله، حياكم الله جميعا في اليوم أو اللقاء الثالث من الدورة التدريبية عن الاستعداد لاختبار الآيلتس، والتي قدمتها معكم خلال اليومين الماضية الدكتورة رنا السبهان، محاضر بجامعة الأميرة نورة بنت عبد الرحمن، ماجستير لغوية تطبيقية من جامعة جنوب إلينوي بأمريكا. حالياً مرشح دكتوراه تخصص علم أصوات في قسم اللغويات التطبيقية بجامعة ريدينغ بالمملكة المتحدة. سبق وأن درست الآيلتس كمادة دراسية لطالبات البكالوريوس، وقدمت دورة عن كيفية اجتياز اختبار الآيلتس والتوفل لمنسوبات جامعة الأميرة نورة من أعضاء هيئة التدريس. وجدد التحية بالجميع، وتفضلي أستاذ رنا، حياك الله.
أهلا وسهلا، شكرا لك دكتورة أحلام. أجدد شكري عرفاني للنادي السعودي بنيوكاسل على تنسيق وتنظيم هذه الدورة، وأرحب بالجميع اليوم الثالث على التوالي في دورة الآيلتس. اليوم إن شاء الله راح ندخل مباشرة في الآيلتس. أحب أنوه أنه أمس تناولنا طرق زيادة كفاءة اللغة الإنجليزية بالمهارات الأربعة مفترض، لكن ما سمح لنا الوقت إلا نناقش listening and reading. we still have speaking and writing. أنا راح أدمجها مع بكرة إن شاء الله مع IELTS speaking and writing. فبكرة يكون IELTS وكيفية تقوية مهارة الاستماع والكتابة بإذن الله. Again and again, I'll just have to go through the logistics. هنبدأ اليوم نتكلم عن listening and IELTS listening and reading. For the first half an hour, for the first hour, we'll talk about IELTS listening, tips, strategies, and advice. We'll take 5 minutes break. Then we'll go ahead and discuss the IELTS reading, tips, strategies, and advice. And the last, let's say 10-15 minutes will be a Q&A session. And we will do the reading and the writing tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, so let's go ahead. Bismillah. اللي حضروا معنا أمس يمكن عارفين هذه الطريقة. بما أنه إحنا كلنا هنا حاضرين نبي نستعد للآيلتس، most of us are updated of the newest like resources for studying the language or practicing the IELTS. عشان الكل يستفيد حطيت هذه الصفحة في منتي اللي لنشارك بعضنا البعض النصائح والمصادر التعليمية. فإذا عندك أو عندك كتاب، موقع، يوتيوب شانل، بودكاست، أي مصدر تعليمي أو أي غير تعليمي بس موجه لتعليم اللغة الإنجليزية أو لممارسة اختبارات تجريبية للآيلتس، please jot it down in this website علشان الكل يستفيد منها. بالنهاية حنجمع كل هذه المصادر اللي ذكرت وننزلها إن شاء الله في قناة مو بقناة، حساب تويتر لنيوكاسل بإذن الله. أوكي. خليني أشارككم. please now go to www.menti.com ودخلوا الكود هذا الموجود قدامكم. أنا بوريكم بس شكل الصفحة وبعدين حنبدأ بإذن الله. in the meanwhile, while we're discussing and practicing the IELTS listening, وجاء في بالكم نقطة معينة, please go ahead, go there and write it down. Okay, something is wrong here. Yep. Okay, خليني أشارككم الصفحة على السريع. هذه الصفحة إن شاء الله تكون طالعة لكم، فبليز شاركوني بالشات إذا شفتوها. أنا حطيت اللينك، خليني أحط اللينك مرة ثانية في الشات. يب، هذا اللينك. إذا ضغطتوا على اللينك مباشرة ياخذكم للصفحة، فتحطون النصيحة اللي حابين تشاركونها مع غيركم. Okay. Is it showing؟ ظاهرة لكم الصفحة؟
أي واضحة.
تمام. يلا خلينا الحين stop sharing وأرجع للصفحة الأساسية للpresentation. There you go. Give me a second, I'm sorry about that. It's just taking me a minute. ظاهرة لكم الآن؟
نعم.
تمام. So let's go ahead. Oh, sorry about that. Go back to this. Let's go back to the IELTS listening, and let's talk a bit about the IELTS listening. So again and again, in the first day, we discussed some structure of the IELTS listening. Now we'll go over it with some more details before we go ahead and discuss some strategies and tips. So the IELTS listening will last for 30 minutes. It will be four parts, four sections. Overall, there will be 40 questions, and each question will carry only 1 mark, right? The listening, I forget to mention something. Today I'll mostly speak in English, just as a way of preparing you for the IELTS listening. If you are not following, if it's hard to understand me, just type Arabic in the chat, and I'll switch to Arabic or translate to Arabic. Am I clear? معاي يا جماعة؟ أنا بحاول أتكلم باللغة الإنجليزية من باب مساعدة في التحضير للاختبار الآيلتس. لازم تتعودون إنكم تتعودوا إنكم تسمعون كثير. فعشان أساعدكم أنا بحاول shift to the English language most of the time. حسيتوا نفسكم ما you're not following، صعب عليكم، أنا سريعة، بس اكتبوا عربي في الشات وأنا أحول للعربي. أوكي؟ حلو، متفقين. يلا. About the IELTS are going to be monologues and conversation. What does monologues mean? It means just one speaker at a time talking, whether in a lecture or talking by himself or by herself. So just one person is speaking. Conversation means there will be 2 speakers or more talking on the same context, okay? It will be a range of native speakers. And when I say native speakers, I'm talking about people from different English-speaking countries. It could be Canadian, could be American, could be Australian, okay? And again, there will be variety of voices. So it could be a man, could be a woman, okay? So different ranges of voices. For each part of the test, there will be a time to look through the question. This is very important. Keep this point in your minds. Always in the IELTS test, you will be given around 2 minutes before you listen to the audio. Do not waste these 2 minutes, okay? Have a look at the questions while you're waiting for the audio. Do not just wait. Have a look at the questions in that time. And then finally, there will be 10 different types of IELTS questions. And I will be discussing them in details in a minute, okay? These are the IELTS listening questions. So there will be, as I said before, 10 types of questions. There will be matching questions. There will be multiple choice. Choose from these choices. There will be either note, form, table, sentence, summary, diagram, or flow chart completion. Complete the following. And it could be, as I said, either note, form, table, sentence, summary, diagram, or a flow chart. There will be short answer questions. What is, or how is it? These questions that require only short answer questions. And there will be map and plan labeling. You'll be given a map or a plan, and you will just fill in the blanks in that map or diagram, or a plan. Okay. Now let's go deep into each section. As I said before, there will be 4 sections in the listening. For the first section, it will be mostly a conversation between 2 people sitting in an everyday social interaction, meaning that there will be it's a kind of a booking a hotel, booking a cab, booking a flight, any kind of these everyday interaction. Section 2, it will be mostly a monologue. That means one person only is speaking, and that in this section it will be more of an everyday social interaction, not interactions, context, more of everyday context. And then section 3 will be conversation between up to 4 people sit in an educational or a training context, means that you'll be listening to 2, 3, or 4 people in a classroom, will be in a work environment, or it could be in a training session, talking together, and you will have to listen to all of these people speaking to answer the questions. And finally, it will be a monologue with an academic subject, just one person speaking. This time it's going to be a kind of an advanced language, more formal, more complex language, talking about a topic, okay? Generally speaking, section 1 is the easiest, then it gets harder with the following sections, okay? Now let's look deeper at each question type. First question, as I said, is going to be matching. What does that mean? It means you will be giving a list of items or answers, right? And then here are the, this is the options, the answer options, and these are the question prompts. You will have to fill in the gaps here by choosing the appropriate answer. How? Let's read the question very quickly. Which hotel matches each description? So obviously, these hotels are mentioned in the reading material, and you will be asked to match each hotel with the description here. And this is very important to finish reading the whole question, because they're giving you instructions on how to answer the question. So they're asking you to choose your answers from the box and write the correct letter A to E next to the questions 1 to 4. So they're asking you to write the letter, not the word. So let's assume that for number 1, the correct answer is the imperial, okay? The imperial. If you type in the imperial, it will be marked wrong. It should be C, not the imperial. So be careful when you read the questions. They will tell you how to answer them. Moving on to the multiple choice. Multiple choice, again, they will give you a couple of choices. Right here, you have 3 choices, and they're asking you to write the correct, again, write the correct letter next to the question. Here are the questions, and these are the answers, okay? And you will have to match. If you notice here, we only have 3 options, 3 answers, but how many questions we have? We have 5. That means you might use one of these more than once, okay? Moving on to the sentence completion. Sentence completion means you are going to complete the sentences below, and then be careful and read the whole question, because again and again, they will tell you how to answer it. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. So 1 is acceptable, 2 is acceptable. But if you write a number, it's not acceptable, all right? These are the gaps where you have to write in the words. Excuse me. Form completion, same thing. They will probably be given the same questions as this one, and you just have to fill in the gaps with the words. Note completion. You will be given a note like this one, right? And you will be asked to fill in the gaps. Again, they will tell you how. Complete the notes below. How? Write no more than 3 words. This time they're allowing you to answer with 3 words and or a number for each answer, okay? Then here, table completion, same thing. And they're giving you instructions for how many words to use in each blank. Summary completion, again, here, the same thing, you'll be giving a summary and they're telling you how many words to use for each one. And short answer, here also for short answer, they will tell you how many words they require. So they answer the questions below, write no more than 3 words and or a number for each one, okay? And then we have the flow chart completion, same idea. You will have to complete the flow chart below with how many words? That's what they're going to tell you. Here in this question, it's no more than 2 words, right? So 2 words, you can write 1, you can write 2, they're both fine. Plan labeling and diagram labeling, as you can see here, they're giving you the image, the picture, and with some blanks where you can refill these with the answers, okay? Here they're telling you also the instruction, choose 5 answers from the box and write the correct letter. If you, there are 5 blanks here, but they're giving you way more. That's kind of distracting you, distractors, okay? And here they're not giving you the options. You will have to listen carefully and write them down. And they're telling you it's no more than 3 words, okay? Now, points to note. These points, I want you to consider them very carefully before going into the IELTS, because they will enlighten you about some of the information you need to know and you need to consider while or before doing the test. Number 1, the questions will be mentioned in order in the recording, but the answer options will appear randomly. What does that mean? Let me go back and to one of the examples where it means where they have options right, like this one. For example, the matching here. These points, the question prompts, will be in the same order in the reading material, meaning that you will have the answer to the first one first, followed then maybe in the second paragraph you will find this answer to this one, and in the third paragraph you will find the answer to this one, and so on and so forth. They will be in an order. However, the answers, the choices are not going to be in the same order. These are shuffled answers. They're going to be from different place in the from different order in the reading material. Just keep that in your mind when you answer. How are you going to use that information? Well, if you answer question 1, highlight it. Why? Because the next time you're going to answer number 2, you don't have to read from the very beginning. No, you just start from number 1 and then back, go down until you find the answer. I hope this point is clear. Is it clear? Are you following? Did you understand what I just explained to you? Yes or no? Shall I say it again? Brilliant. Okay, moving on. The questions get harder as you progress through the test. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I have explained it, keeping in my mind that it was the reading. Sorry, and I keep referring to the reading. No. Let me explain it. It's right for the reading part, but let me explain it from a listening part this time. So let me say it again. In the listening here, you will listen to this one first. You will listen to that one second. You will listen to this one third, and you will listen to that one fourth. Okay? But these will appear randomly. It's the same idea. I have just explained it as if you are reading it. But in this section, you're not reading it. You're listening to it. That's what I want just to highlight. Okay? Let's move on to the next question. So the questions get harder as you progress through the test, okay? Number 3 is very important and you need to understand it very carefully. Synonyms and paraphrasing will be used extensively in the recording, okay? It means that you will rarely hear the same word in the recording or in the audio and find it the matching one exactly in the questions. That's rarely happening. They will use definitely the synonyms, another synonym, or they will paraphrase the whole sentence. So do not expect to listen. Yes.
معليش قاطعتك بس الصوت عندك مرة مو واضح. أعتقد في إزعاج عندك أو شيء.
I know. للأسف الشديد الجيران ما قرروا يصلحون بيتهم ولا لا.
طيب اوكي.
But this drilling يعني I'm so sorry ما توقعت صراحة انه حيكون واضح كذا.
لا خلاص تمام ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله
قربي من
اعيد النقطة، اعيد لكم شيء.
ما أدري الحضور واضح بالنسبة
إيش
لكم؟
رأيكم أعيدها لكم؟
الآن تمام، إن شاء الله يوقفون.
I hope so. Okay, let's go moving on. طيب, synonyms again. Synonyms. Make sure that you are aware. Yes, what? I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Do you want me to repeat it? You want me to repeat number 3 or 2? Which one? Two. Okay, let's go back to number 2. No problem. The questions get harder as you progress through the test. That means that in the listening, you will be given 4 sections. You will listen to 4 sections. Section 1 is the easiest, okay? Section 2 is going to be a bit harder. Section 3, it will be harder than section 2. And section 4 is going to be the hardest. So just keep that in your mind while doing the answer. So don't get too stressed that you're not going to find the answer to the first one. No, it's going to be easy. So don't overthink section 1 and don't overthink section 2 because the answers kind of straightforward, not like section 3 and 4 where you have to learn the other synonyms or learn how did they paraphrase it to find the answers. Okay. An example for number 3, synonyms and paraphrasing. For example, in the recording, they would say, we will go to the park on Saturday and Sunday, for example. But in your question, you won't find Saturday and Sunday. No, you'll find something like, they decided to go to the park in the weekend. It's still the same idea. It's still Saturday and Sunday, but they did not use it exactly. They paraphrase or they used another synonym, or maybe in this case could be considered as a paraphrasing. Is that clear? I'm sorry, I deeply apologize for the noise. It's out of my hand. Is it clear? No, it's fine. Okay, thank you, Muhammad. Let's go ahead. Yeah, you have to consider that the audio will be played just once. So you will hear the audio just one time and you will never ever be given a chance to re-listen to the same audio twice. And finally, there will be a lot of distractors in the audio recording. Do you understand the meaning of distractors? Do you understand the meaning of distractors? Can you tell me what does distractors mean if you understand the meaning of distractors? Okay, distractors means something to take away your or to confuse the listener. They're giving you 2 options similarly. They look similar, but they're different. So they're just trying to confuse the listener. All right, let me show you an example. Just a second. I will go back to the distractors in the coming slides. So don't worry about distractors now. I will explain it to you extensively in the coming slide. Okay. Let me do the next slide first, right? The next one first. Remember when I said in the questions, they will be telling you how many words is acceptable for a question, right? This is how to explain it to you. Let me explain it to you in details. Sometimes in the question, they will say 1 word only, okay? They're asking for 1 word only. That means you can say pharmacy is acceptable, it's 1 word. But if you write a pharmacy, that would be wrong. Why? Because in English, a counts as a word. So if you write a pharmacy, that would be, even if it's right, no, that wouldn't count as right. And same for the second one. When you write 5, right, when it's only 1 word, that's gonna be correct. But if you write it as a number, as a digit, that would be wrong because they're only allowing 1 word only. So please be attentive to the number of words, and is it word or number? Because this is really crucial to the answer, to your grades. Finally, you can write school, that's fine. But if you write in school, even if it's correct, for example, that celebration is in the school, that would be wrong because these are now two words, but not one word only. If the question says one word and or a number, that means you can write 5, that's correct. You can write the digit 5, that would be right because it's a number. You can write 5 years, that's correct. Why? Because 5 is a number and years is a word, so which is allowed. But if you write 5 years as a word, that's gonna be wrong, even if it's the same answer, because now it's 2 words. It's no longer one word and or a number. Okay? When they say no more than 2 words, okay? You can answer with 1 word, that could be right. You can answer a word, 2 words, that's cool, because that counts as in a word. These are 2 words, which means it's right. But if you write, for example, at the school, even if it's right, it counts as 3 words, so it's wrong. So sorry about the noise, it's really annoying. Then finally, you will be given a choice of no more than 2 words and or a number. Same here. You can, if you write 13 Canadians, it will be right because it's a number and it's a word. If you type it down as a word, 13 Canadians, it will be right as well because now it's 2 numbers. If you write 13 Canadian students, oh, this should be wrong. Sorry guys, this should be wrong because now it's 3 words. This is wrong, okay? Are you following? Please pay attention, this is wrong. I have to fix it now. 2 words, okay. 13, well, but the number, when you write 13 Canadian students, that's okay because it's 1 number and 2 words. But if you write it 3 students from Canada, even if it's the same answer or it gives you the same impression, it's going to be counted as wrong because it's 4 words. Is it clear? Did you understand how to count the words in an IELTS test? Was it clear? Brilliant. Okay. Now let's go back to the same class. Now let's move on to the IELTS listening and strategy and tips. Now, how can you handle the IELTS test? Let's start from the very beginning. Read the questions very carefully, okay? And if you need, reread the question again, just to notice or to state or to jot down how many number of words you are allowed to write. Okay, so you make sure you do not exceed that number. That's number 1. Next, understand question types and highlight the keywords of the question. As I showed you earlier, there are 10 types of questions. You need to familiarize yourself with these kind of questions and how to handle them and how to answer them. And if you need, you just highlight the keywords in the questions just to refresh your minds. Every now and then you look at it and you understand what you're talking about. Next, try to predict what the answers might be. So you will be, as I said before, you will be given like 2 minutes before you listen to the audio. Use that time to have a look at the answer, the questions, okay? And then try to predict what kind of answer they're requiring. Are they looking for a number? Are they looking for a name? Are they looking for a date? That will make it a lot easier when you are listening. Okay? Sometimes you might be confused. Shall this word will be written in capital, will start with capital letters or small letters? If you are confused, write the whole word in capital letters. This time you won't be wrong. Okay? But do not answer the whole questions in capital letters because obviously it takes time, more time to write in capital letters. So just write the whole word or the whole answer in capital letters, just in case you are not sure. Should I start it with capital or small letter? Recognize the letter sounds and familiarize yourself with the range of accents. Again and again. Be familiar with the range of accents. If you remember from yesterday, I suggested to listen to different sources of listening or different sources of audios, because you will be in the test listening to different ranges of accents. So once your ear is familiar with these different range of accents, it is a lot easier to catch on the words or the answers. And also, most probably in the first question, the first section of the IELTS listening, you will be listening to address, you will be listening to some basic information like names. Sometimes if the names are not very common, they would spell it out. So you need to go back to the letters and make sure you understand the sounds of each letter. So it will be a lot easier to write it down when you listen to it, because they're gonna spell it rather quickly, okay? Spell common words such as road, street, and avenue, and days of the week, and the month as well. So these words, again, they probably come in the IELTS listening. So you would prepare yourself for these words and make sure you understand how to write them correctly. Read the questions, before listening to the recording. That's what I've been saying. During that silent period, read the questions and try to guess or predict what kind of answers they're looking for, okay? And finally, do not lose your concentration. This is a very good point for preparing for the IELTS listening. It's not just about the skill. It's not just about the skill of listening. It is about concentration and focus. It is very hard to deal with that, but the only advice I can tell you is that be prepared. When I say be prepared, I mean study well for the IELTS. Set to practice more and more every day before the test, because this time you will feel confident that you did your best, you practiced, you learned, you studied a lot. So you are kind of ready for that IELTS listening. Number two, try to make any sort of an exercise just to decrease the stress you have in your body. Try to eat well before the day of the test, and on the same day. Do not go without having, let's say, for your breakfast or your lunch, because you will lose your energy. You won't be able to keep on the whole, because you will be sitting on the chair for 2 and 45 minutes. So you need to have the energy, okay? And the well-being and the mental capacity to sit for 2 and 45 minutes, okay? Sleep well, of course, before the test, so you don't be tired during the exam. Okay. Let's go on. We discussed this point. Okay, now let's discuss some of the common mistakes in IELTS listening. The very common mistakes in IELTS listening is obviously going to be incorrect spelling. For example, autumn, because it's a silent N, some people assume or forget to write it down. Or science, again, because it sounds like an S, but there is no place for C, but there is a spelling for C. Or incorrect grammar, for example. And this is very common with singular and plural nouns. A lot of mistakes happen when you mix between singular and plural, whether it's countable or uncountable. For here, foods is uncountable, should never have a plural form. And or some the articles, we don't say I, we say an I, okay? So these are, I'm just giving you an example of the mistakes, of the common mistakes that happen during the IELTS listening. Another common mistake is the incorrect number of words. As I explained before, they would say one word and or a number, and then you write 5 dogs, okay? And you write 5 as a word. That even if it's still correct, that would be marked as wrong because you wrote 2 words instead of just 1. losing your focus. Again, IELTS depends on your focus, depends on your concentration in your listening. So if, God forbid, you would lose your focus for a minute and you say, oh my God, I did not catch what they say in the first, on the last sentence or wherever, please don't panic. Try to remember that it's just 1 mark for each blank. So if you missed one, you still have a chance for the next and the next and the next. So just drop it and just focus on the coming sentences. Some test takers miss some of the answers and they just leave it blank. There is no point in leaving it blank. You may as well guess, because you won't lose anything. It's still the same. Just guess. It might be correct. You don't know that. And then, yeah, this is also very common mistake. Incorrect number. Most of the listeners confuse teens with tens. Okay, because it's just the difference is just a vowel here. So instead of, you would hear 15, but for some reason you heard it 50. Okay, so you write, instead of writing it 15, you write 50, and that counts as a mistake. How can you come over this? Listen to the numbers again and again. Practice listening to the numbers. Another mistake is incorrect vocabulary. Again, in the IELTS list, expect to have some price, expect to have some time to write down, expect to have a date, and expect to have an address. In a price, it could be, the price could be $1, a pound, or a euro, okay? Learn these words, and if you're not sure, at least learn the sign of these words, the price, so you don't make a mistake, and learn how to write them. It's not after the number, it's before the number. And time. Be very careful when you write the time, okay? Because again, it depends on how many words are you asked to write. If they say, let's say, if they say no more than 2 words, okay, and you write, and the answer is 6:45, and you write it like this, that would mark as mistake, because this is not words, these are numbers. You should write 6:45, okay? If you write 6:45, it's still the same answer, but it will be marked as wrong because here you have 3 words, all right? If you are given a choice, or you're allowed to write words or numbers, always stick to the numbers, because this is the safest way to go, so that you don't misspell any of the numbers by accident. Dates. Also learn how to spell months, okay? All the months. Or if you're not sure about the spelling of the month, at least memorize the number of the month, okay? So if you're confused about the spelling, you can write it as a number instead. So 24th of April is correct. You can write it as April 24th, still correct. You can write it 24 April, still correct. Just make sure you write the right form that you're 100% sure it's correct. And this is the safest one, if they are allowing you to write it in number. Address. The address also have a postcode, and postcodes are always made of letters and numbers, and the letters are always written in capital letters. Okay, just make sure you write them in capital letters. If you write them in small letters, they might consider it as a mistake. Okay. All right, now remember distractors. When I said earlier, you lose marks because, or listen carefully for the distractors. Now we will talk a bit about the distractors. Distractors are given to check the attentivity of the listeners toward the audio. They're giving you 2 similar words or 2 similar answers, and you will have to choose which one is correct. So this happens mostly in dialogues, in conversation between 2 persons. All right. Let's say, for example, it's your conversation between 2 persons, and they're booking a room in a hotel, and the hotel manager, would say, would you like, let's say, one room or 2 rooms? The guest would say, oh, I'd like one room. The hotel manager would say 2 rooms, and he said, no, I said 1 room. So here you're confused. Is it 1 or 2 rooms? Okay, I'm just giving you a simple example, but I'm giving you now more complicated examples for you to understand. So when you are listening, be attentive and listen to no or sorry, because here they're correcting themselves, the other person. They're giving the right answer after these words. And be extra careful when you're listening to numbers, because this is where the confusion comes. Sometimes they're giving 2 different numbers, just to check the listener's attentivity. And I was planning to do some practice to listen to an audio where only hear an audio about 4 questions, and they're giving you a distractor in each one of them. And I want you to listen and try to answer each one of them. You will listen to the audio on the same order. So you will answer 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And then we will discuss what kind of distractors did you listen to. Are you ready? I really hope this noise will not come again during the audio. Let's hope. Are you ready? Shall I play the recording now? Can you answer on the chat, please? Okay. Okay, let's play it now. And if the noise would show up again, I will stop it, okay? Please let me know if you can hear it. I'll play it now. If you can hear it, just type type 1 if you can hear it.
Recording 13.
Good, let's go ahead, okay?
1.
Right, so you need to book some flights, is that right?
Yes, for me and my family. We're going to Scotland for my sister's wedding.
Oh, lovely. When's the wedding?
It's on the 21st of July.
That should be wonderful. But I assume you'll want to fly in earlier. What about the 20th or even the 19th?
It will have to be the 18th. I've actually got to attend a special dinner on the 19th.
2.
Welcome aboard, everyone. I hope you'll enjoy your stay with us and get a lovely glimpse of country life. We're going to a wonderful market on Tuesday morning. I'm sure you'll love that, with all the local farm produce on sale. Then on the Wednesday, you'll get to see where all that lovely produce comes from, as John Smith, a local farmer, has invited us to see him at work. On Thursday, you'll have a day to relax before we leave on Friday.
3. So, what topic are we going to choose for our project? It's due in 3 weeks.
I know, it's not a lot of time. I was going to suggest we do one on the environment.
But that's so broad a topic. We should try to narrow it down. What about recycling?
That's a good idea. There's a lot of information, and I think the other groups are concentrating on pollution, so this would be nice and different.
4.
We encountered quite a few problems during our research. Firstly, the weather was horrendous and made our work conditions very difficult indeed. Luckily, we had the right equipment to deal with that and could carry on regardless. Unfortunately, though, in spite of having so many volunteers, we did run out of funds halfway through the project. So we were forced to postpone the second half of our trip.
All right. So we listened to these 4 sections, and this is what I meant when I say distractors. So let's go on. Let's start with number 1. When will they be traveling? If you were listening carefully to that audio recordings, they've mentioned the July 21st. They mentioned July 20th. They mentioned July 19th, and they mentioned July 18th. Which one is the correct answer? Yeah, it is July the 18th. They try, distractors means you listen to different options, similar answers, just to confuse the listeners. So be attentive when you listen, and do not assume the first one should be the correct answer. No, listen and give it some time. Moving on to number 2, what day will they be visiting the market? Again, they mentioned Friday, they mentioned Thursday, they mentioned Tuesday, and they mentioned Wednesday. So which one? Tuesday it is. Yep, it was Tuesday. They went to the market on Tuesday, and Friday they left back home. 3, what topic did they choose for their project? If you were listening, they mentioned environment, they mentioned recycling, and they mentioned pollution. So which one? Yep, recycling, that's it. And finally, what went wrong with the research? If you were listening, you will be aware that they talked about the equipment, they talked about the funds, they talked about the volunteers, but which one of these went wrong? Yeah, thank you, Muhammad. It is number 2, it's the funds. Yes, everything was fine with the equipment, everything was fine with the volunteers. It's just the funds. Good. Okay. This is a glimpse on the score of the IELTS listening. As I said before, there will be 40 questions. So if you score 39 to 40, you will get an IELTS of 9. If it's less, you will get 8 and a 5, and so on. Just have a look at it. If you get, like, for example, 7, then you must have answered 30 to 31 correct answers. Okay. Now let's moving on to some free online IELTS listening practice tests. And this is what you should be doing before the test. Practice and practice and practice. Let me show you very quick how each one of them, or why did I choose these? Let me stop sharing for a minute and share with you my screen. This is the British Council. Can you see it? Free online IELTS listening practice. Can you see that? Hello? Okay, good. So this is the IELTS. This is a free online listening test. It looks exactly like the IELTS listening. You have 2 tests with all 4 parts. All you have to do, set up the timer to 30 minutes and start doing this. Okay, let me show you very quick how it's going. This is the audio. These are the questions. Okay, you have a list of questions. Of course, you cannot, unfortunately, you can't type it on the computer right away. You can write it on a piece of paper. And then when you finish, you can have, you can check your answers with the listening test answer sheet. Okay. This is number 1. Let's go back and see the others. Can you see this one? Sample test questions. Can you? Sample test questions. Good, brilliant. Now, this one, what I like about this kind of test, it's focusing on the type of question. Remember when I said that you will be there will be 10 types of questions. Here, they're giving you a recording and answers and questions for each type. So for example, let me see, matching. Here, this is the matching. Let me show you the matching. This is the matching, this is the question, they're showing you the questions. And this is a transcript for the whole recording if you wanna read it. And they're giving you the answers at the very bottom, but don't look at it until you listen. And the recording is right above it, okay? Here's the recording. So I think this is really a good website for practicing different IELTS listening questions. And then last one is IELTS List. This is a very famous website for IELTS preparation. Loads and loads of resources here. What I recommend here is to focus on the IELTS listening tips and how to answer the questions. What kind of question or what kind of answers you're expected. For example, they're giving you listening for city names or number practice. Remember when I said you have to practice listening to numbers? Here they're giving you some. What else? They're giving you form completion. You're listening for letters, alphabet practice. So you're listening for different sources of answers in this time. Okay. Let's go back to our slide. Good. Now we finish with the IELTS listening bit. I would kindly ask you to go back to www.menti.com and share any IELTS listening section, advice, tips, or a resource you would recommend to your colleagues. Okay, and we will take 5 minutes break and we will resume in 2:08, okay? I'll see you in 2:08. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat for now, so I can answer them at the end of the slides. Let me go back here. Okay, I'll send you the links now. Let me just stop sharing and send you the links. You mean you're talking about practice IELTS listening links? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'll do them now. Here's the links. I just want to remind you that I will send you the PDF file with all the links and the resources by the end of this workshop. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second section of this workshop. Now we will be dealing with the strategies, tips, and advice for the IELTS reading section. Again and again, let's go back to the basics of the IELTS reading. It will be the second section in the IELTS test. It will last for 60 minutes. It will be 3 parts with a total of 40 questions, and each question equals or carries 1 mark only. The reading materials will be 3 long, detailed texts for the reading. It will be from different resources. It will be about different topics, and it will be of general interest, and some of them may contain non-verbal materials like a diagram, tables, illustration, graphs, and so on. Okay. What kind of questions are in the reading test? Similar to the IELTS test. They will be, but with some differences, like true or false or not given, or sometimes they're going to call it yes or no or not given. Match each paragraph with a title or the heading. Diagram, sentence, or summary completion. Filling the gaps with synonyms. Filling the gaps, that means completion as well, or multiple choice. These are the questions you expect to have in the reading section. Some points to consider while or before taking the reading test is, keep in your mind that the first section is usually the easiest, just like the listening test. The first one is a bit easier than the second one, and the more you progress, the more difficult it gets. If you don't know anything about the topic, do not panic. It's just a reading test. They're not testing your knowledge. You don't need to know everything about every material or reading material. You just need to learn how to find the answers within each reading material. Just like the listening section, think about the synonyms and the paraphrases for the keywords. Do not look for the exact words in the reading material. They will be using synonyms. They will paraphrase the whole sentence sometimes. The language in the text is going to be academic, formal, technical, and scientific, unlike the listening, because the listening was a mixture between formal and informal. Here it's going to be just formal, technical, and scientific material. Let's go through some of the strategies and tips for the reading bit. I will repeat the same point I mentioned in the listening section. Read the questions very carefully. If you need, read it again, just to make sure you understand how many number of words you are asked to write. Is it words or numbers, and how many of each, okay? Read the headings before reading the passage. As I said before, you will be given only 1 hour, 60 minutes to read 3 long texts. Please don't read them. You're not asked to read them word by word. No, start with the questions, okay? You might have a glimpse. If you remember yesterday, we talked about some of the reading skills you need to develop. Use these skills. Skim through the reading materials. And when I say skim, I mean read the titles, read the subheadings. If there are any pictures, images, tables, have a look at them, just to make a general idea what's the main point of this article. What is this article talking about? And then go ahead and go read the questions straight away, and then find the answers. Read to find the answers. Do not read just for reading. You're losing your time, okay? Develop skills for each kind of the questions. Practice the questions. Remember the question is just shown you? Sometimes they will be difficult if you're not already have practice to answer them. Highlight keywords. While you're reading, try to highlight the words that you think are relevant to the questions, so it's easier to locate them later on. Develop speed reading skills. Again, yesterday we have talked about how to develop speed reading skills. Let's refresh our minds about how to develop speed reading. Do not read word by word. practice and practice to write chunks of words, phrases, not just words. For example, you know that the or a or an do not occur by themselves. They should be followed by nouns. And verbs, most of the time, are followed by nouns. So do not just read the verb, or just do not read just the noun. Read them as chunks. Use a pencil or use a paper, or in this case, it's going to be a computer. If you choose a computer, cover the rest of the readings just to make sure you don't go back and read the materials you've already read, okay? Also, do not read or do not vocalize what you're reading. For example, do not, if you're reading, let me imagine this bit is part of the reading. Do not just say, read the questions very like quietly. Don't do that. That will take time. Read them without using your mouth, okay? This is how you develop a speed reading skill, okay? Think about the meaning. When you're reading or when you're skimming through, do not again just focus on the words as itself. Think about their synonyms, okay? Think about how there can be different. Think about the meaning, not the words, the general one, the general idea rather than the word. Do not try to understand the full passage. This is not your job. You're not supposed to understand the whole thing. Okay, your job is just to find answers to the questions. And finally, pay attention to negative words. When they say hardly or they never, pay attention. They're giving you information here. Also pay attention to the frequency words, because you might be asked about, is it always, is it often, is it never? Okay. How about the common mistakes in the reading section? Let's do them one by one. One of the common mistakes in the reading section is reading the text before reading the questions, which I just highlighted a minute ago. Do not do that. Don't be tempted to read the materials before the questions. Again, you will be losing time. Why? Because you are reading with no purpose. There is no goal. You're not finding anything, okay? Even when you read and go back to the questions, and you know that you read about this bit in the reading materials, it will be harder to find exactly where. So it's, after all, it's a waste of time. Not reading the instructions carefully. You know the answer, you wrote the answer, but because you missed how many words, let's say, you're asked for, you missed it, you made a mistake. You are reading every word. When you read every word and you have 3 long texts, you will end up with not answering half of the questions. The time will be up. You haven't even finished half of the questions. Okay, so do not risk that. Skipping some questions. Let's say you come through a question, you failed to find the answer and you just left it blank. Well, you might as well guess any answer, okay? It's better than leaving it blank, because who knows, you might get the right answer after all. Writing 2 answers. Well, you're confused. Is it the 21st of July or is it the 18th of July? So you wrote both. Again, you will be marked as wrong. Only one answer is accepted. Ignoring the order of the questions. This is very important. The questions in the reading section follow the order in the text. So, question 1, you will probably find it in paragraph 1. Section 2 will be after the answer of 1. Question 3 will be after 2. Question 7 will be after 6. In this case, to help you not waste more time, when you answer question 1, highlight any word, just to know that you stopped here. So when you start to answer question 2, you do not have to read the passage from the very beginning again and waste your time. No, you start from the answer of number 1. I hope I made this clear. And if it's not, please ask me and I will repeat it again. Sometimes while reading, you will be faced with words, vocabulary that unfamiliar. You have never met them before. And some people get stuck with this. They wanted to know these words. Well, it's not the time, not the place to try and learn this vocabulary. You won't be asked about it. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they won't ask you about that specific vocabulary. So, and one of the reading skills we discussed yesterday is the ability to skip hard vocabulary. You do not need to understand exactly the meaning of it. Just don't waste your time. Another common mistake, they misunderstood the question. They don't understand what they are asked to do, okay? And another one, spend a lot of time on difficult questions. Remember, in the reading, you will be given 40 questions, and each question carries 1 mark. So imagine this question is hard, so you spent 5 minutes on it, you lost 4 minutes from the other question. So just balance your time. Do not waste much time on one question. After all, it only carries 1 mark. Committing spelling and grammatical mistakes. This is very common in the IELTS. Excuse me. And looking for the exact words and phrases in the text. Remember, in the reading and in the listening, they are using synonyms and paraphrasing. So do not waste your time looking for the exact words in the reading material. Try to come with the synonyms in your mind and try to read the whole sentence to understand if it's paraphrased or not. Okay, here is, let's see, what time is it? Here is a reading material. We still have time, so let's do some practice. Okay, imagine this is the reading material. Okay, sorry. And this is the question. I will give you a minute to have a look at the questions. Okay, I will give you 3 minutes to look at this question, and then I will go back and give you 5 minutes to have a look at the text. And then I will ask you about these questions, which is which. And then we will learn together how to handle the reading test. Okay? Sorry, I'll give you 2 minutes now. Are you following me? Am I clear? Hello? Okay. You know what to do. Thank you, Muhammad. Read the questions for 2 minutes, and then I will let you have a look at the passage for 5 minutes for a practice, and then we'll do it together. Now I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. Have a look at the passage, read it, and find the answers to the questions. Are you ready? Shall we start? Okay, let's start. Let's go back and read the question. Now, imagine you have this text in the IELTS. Imagine now you are in the IELTS. The question is, match each item with the group with which first invented or used them. Okay, write the correct letter. So now they're asking you to write the letter with each, sorry, not this, the letter of each answer next here, next to the, this blank should be blank. I should have written blank, never mind. On your answer sheet, this is notice. You may use any letter more than once. This is important to focus on this. Now they're telling you some of them can be used more than once. Keep that in your mind. Now, I know we have black powder, we have rocket-propelled arrows for fighting, rockets as war weapons, and the rocket launcher, okay? So I will go back. So my first focus, I know from this order that I will look for this one first, followed by this, and then followed by this. This is the order in the text. So let's start to find the black powder. Here, we're not going to read word by word. We will just skim through because we're looking for specific word. That is black powder. Here's the first mention. So let's go before and read the whole sentence now. The mention of the rockets linked extensively to the invention of the black powder. No mention of who invented it. So let's keep reading. Most historians of technology credited the Chinese with its discovery. That's your clue. Now you have a black powder and you have credited. That means those who invented it. Credited is, or invented is a synonym for credited. So it's the Chinese. The first one is going to be the Chinese. Are you following? Shall we go ahead and go on with the next one? Are you following? Good. Now, I've done the first one. Let's move on. The next one is the rocket-propelled arrows for fighting. Okay. When I go back to read, I'm not going to read the first one because I'm already done with it. You should cover it. I would start with the next one. So I will scan with a finger, with my mouse cursor, with anything as fast as I can go, looking for the rocket-propelled arrow. Okay. Right. Like this. Oh, we have here black powder again, but we already find the answer, so there is no need to confuse ourselves. Okay, okay. By the 19th, here we have powder propelled fire arrows. It's not exactly the same, but it gives you the meaning. Of course, fire arrows is the same as the arrows. Now let's read the whole sentence. By the 19th century, powder propelled fire arrows have become rather common. The Chinese, no, we have the Chinese, relied on this type of technology development to produce incendiary projectiles of many sorts, explosive grenades, and possibly cannons to repel their enemies. And such a weapon was, okay, just keep going until you just make sure you understand what is it about. Or directly translated from the Chinese, the arrows like flying. So obviously here, it's again the Chinese, right? Let's keep going just in case. Another weapon was the arrow of flying sapri, I think. This is another type. That means we're stopped. That means it's the Chinese, okay? When you are doing this, make sure to highlight. I don't think I can highlight here, but if I have, if I have a chance, highlight so you don't start all over again. Now let's go back to our slide just to check. Now we are looking for rockets as war weapons. Let's go back. Okay, we're not gonna go from the beginning. No, we will start from where we stopped with question 2. Yes, here. We stopped here. Dialect, another weapon. Yeah, sorry, we stopped here. Another weapon. The rockets, okay. This position to other rocket propelled is designed to increase the range of smaller and just to increase the area. You see, you don't have to read the whole thing. Yes, look here. It wasn't until the 18th century that Europe became seriously interested in the possibility of using the rocket itself as a weapon of war, and not just to propel other weapons. So who first find out the rocket as a weapon? Europe. Let's see. Do we have Europe in the options? Sorry. Do we have Europe here in the options? No, we don't. What's the closest? What's the synonym? What's the synonym for Europe here? Any guesses? British. That's it, Muhammad. Yes, it's the British. You see how they just use synonyms sometimes other than the exact words? This is what you should look for. Okay, and then finally the rocket launcher, it should be obviously on the second paragraph where we stopped. Oh, sorry. Where is it? It should be in the second paragraph here. Okay. I'm just showing you right now how to deal with it, how to deal with the reading question. Is it clear? Is it clear how can we deal with the reading passage in the IELTS test? What steps do we take to find it out? By the way, most of the words I've just read, none of them till now I understood, or I can give you the definitions, because actually it's not my area of expertise, and I'm not interested in it. What I'm interested in is just finding answers to these questions. Is it clear? Shall we move on? Okay. All right. Here is the score for the reading test, just similar to the IELTS 1. 40 means 9, less than that you will have 8, and so on and so forth. You don't need to know that. It's just to give you an idea how many scores you should have to get the IELTS score back. Now let's go to the free online IELTS reading practice test. Okay, do we have time? Yes, we do. Let's go through each one of them one by one. I think it's that one, yes. Do you see IELTS reading samples? Can you see it? Good. Okay. Here is an IELTS reading samples. Okay. This is a good website for preparing for the IELTS exam. They're giving you, as you can see here, loads and loads of academic reading. Okay. Let's pick one just to show you. Anyone academic? They have academic and general, by the way. Let's go with this one. Okay. They're starting with a tab. Okay, scanning. For example, here they're talking about scanning, and they're presenting you with the questions. Here is the question, and where is the reading paper? Is this section? You have to download it. Okay, this is the reading. Oh. Let's see here. Yep, this is the reading material, and here is the questions. What's good about this website is you actually can you can type your own answer here, and when you finish, you can check the answers and see whether it's right or wrong, and then you can move on to the next section and the third section, so you know how you did. Okay, so this is a good website to start with. Now let's go back. Let's see the other website. Okay. IELTS Up. Can you see it? IELTS Up. Can you see the IELTS Up? Thank you, Ida. Okay. This one, as you can see the whole passage right here, and then you can see the questions. You can also type them here or choose them, like true or false or something, and you can type your own answers on these, and then you can see the answers and you can check your score. So it's really a good website for practicing reading materials. Let me see. I think they have more options. Yep, here you see there are loads of questions here. Okay, let's see the third one. I have included more in the reading IELTS because I know loads of people have problems with the reading section. They tend to lose marks on this, so I included as many as I can. This is from the IELTS official website. They're giving you 2 tests. So you can see here, academic. Let me show you. Okay, you have to allow yourself just 1 hour. And you can't here check the score yourself, but they're giving you the answer. So you can check for yourself. Here is the reading material. Here are the questions. You can't type them here, but you can check your answers later on. Okay, this is the answer sheet. And then next we have IELTS LES. Okay, this is IELTS LES, right? This is really practical website. She's again giving you reading material according to the question type. So if you see here, paraphrasing practice, how the paraphrasing works, choosing a title. Let's see the choosing a title. So she's giving here the passage, the article, and then choose the title. She's giving you the vocabulary and the answer sheet. You just practice by question type. Okay. And then we have this website, IELTS reading practice test. This is loads again. Look how many, loads of reading material. Here you can choose, for example, any test, right? Take a test. And it shows you in the same screen, the text and the questions. And you can actually type your questions here. This is the text. And here is the questions. When you finish, you can submit it and check your answers. Okay. This one. Let's see the last one. This is the last one. Useful IELTS reading articles, website, and resources. Here they're giving you resources where you can read. And here are the tests where you can practice. You see how many? Loads of practice tests. Let me show you one of these. Okay. These are the question types. They're giving you the question types. And then the reading passage. This is the reading passage, as you can see, followed by the questions. I don't think you can choose here now. However, it's a good loads of questions, different kind of questions you can practice. So you can set up your own alarm and start doing it. Let's go back to our slide. Now, we have reached the end of this day 3. So if you have any questions, please do ask them now through the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, go please to www.menti.com and type in any advice you think will help others. And I will do so as well. And I will collect them all and will publish them on Newcastle's Twitter account. Newcastle's Saudi Club Twitter account.
يعطيك العافية وشكرا لجهودك اليوم. في أي استفسار أو سؤال؟ طيب احنا أعتقد كذا وصلنا لنهاية لقائنا اليوم. وإن شاء الله بيكون يعني لقانا غدا. أستاذ رنا عن إيش؟ لقاء غدا بإذن الله.
بكرة بإذن الله راح نكمل الآيلتس تحضير لاستراتيجيات تيبس وتحضير لاختبار الآيلتس بقسميه الكتابة والتحدث، وحضيف له طرق وأساليب ومهارات تقوي من مهارة الكتابة والقراءة بإذن الله.
طيب إن شاء الله على خير وشكرا.
هلا والله. أحلام بس أعطيني دقيقة أرسل اللينكس اللي حاب يبدأ من اليوم.
عموما إحنا الآن راح ننشره في تويتر الرابط. أيضا ممكن في حضور ما استطاعوا معانا اليوم في مشاركين ما استطاعوا اليوم الحضور، فراح نرسل لهم على تويتر بإذن الله، في حساب المبادرة وفي حساب أيضا النادي السعودي بنيوكاسل، فممكن تشاركون هناك. إذا وصلتكم أي فكرة تقدرون تشاركون أيضا.
شكرا دكتورة أحلام، شكرا لجهودك.
الله يعطيك العافية ويومكم سعيد جميعا. نلتقي بكم غدا.
أراكم على خير بكرة بإذن الله. See you soon.